I've been gardening since the year 2020, which means I've been gardening for about 4 years at this point. And obviously in those 4 years, I've formed a ton of opinions on certain plants that we grow in our garden. And today, I'm going to be showing you my opinions in a tier list. Which, if you don't know what a tier list is, allow me to explain briefly. But if you already do, then you can skip to the timestamp right below. I usually don't like putting intro, but I'll do it for the sake of you guys. But basically, a tier list is a ranking list where you rank things from S tier being the greatest all the way down to F tier being the worst, and everything else in between is like it's better or worse. So today I got every single plant I've ever grown in my garden. I'm gonna throw them onto a tier list. Let's go. So first of all, we're gonna start off with our strawberries, which are right there in the garden, by the way. Our strawberries, I'm going to be giving them a B tier, to be honest, because they are the biggest reason. They have a lot of things that attract to them, like birds, especially the robins and the blue jays. They love going in the garden and destroying my strawberry patch. Every time there's a brand new strawberry that they think is good for them, they go in and they seize the opportunity and say, yo, that's my strawberry now. So strawberries, I'm gonna be giving them B tier because they seem to do that. Other than that though, if you're actually able to get a really successful harvest out of your strawberries, then you, my friend, are going to make a good amount of money, because guess what? People love organic strawberries, and if you taste test them, they taste a whole lot better than the ones you buy at the store. So next up, I got the blueberries, and the blueberries, I'm gonna be giving them a C tier. They really do test your patience, because blueberries, unlike a lot of the garden plants, really take a long time to actually get a good harvest. But also note that blueberries can live 15 to 25 years, which is a lot longer than most garden plants, only being able to survive 1 season, maybe 2 if you're lucky. So realistically, these guys will take a long time to actually get to that stage where you're actually able to get stuff from them regularly. They also will, but the second you actually begin getting things from them, that's when the birds will obviously seize their opportunity and get in there and destroy every last one. So I'm gonna give them a C tier. And let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we're going to be talking about corn plants. And I do have a corn patch all the way up at the top of those fields, but for the sake of this video, I'm not going to be walking all the way up there because, well, something's about to set over here and I need to make this really quick and brief. So, for the corn, I'm going to be giving them an A tier because I really think that the corn plants really are some of the greatest plants out there. And in my opinion, I really love the way that, like, they're really easy to grow. They also really have a good germination rate, because if you accidentally spill like 3 seeds into the ground, bam, all those 3 will just magically spawn into your garden. I'm gonna show you a little example. Back in May of this year, May 2024, in the state of Iowa, the exact place you'd expect to have the most corn crops being grown, of course, there was a really strong EF4 tornado that touched down, I believe, in 195-mile-an-hour winds. And it destroyed a lot of things in its path. But most notably, a couple weeks after the destruction unfolded, people began noticing that corn crops began actually growing in the streets, because that's how good corn's germination really is. So realistically, these guys will really be great for a start, but just a reminder, don't overdo it. Now next up, we got one I really wish we was growing this year, but we're not. And I'm gonna go over 3 of them. Pumpkins. I haven't grown one since 2022. I really wanted to try to get into them this year, but obviously this year's been really busy. The 2025 gardening season will be mine, bro. That's when we're making that comeback, is 2025. Actually, no, we have the fall garden season. I'm gonna see if I can get myself a, what's it called? A hydroponic system. But as you can see, right up there is actually where we do have the pumpkin patch. Usually, I'm gonna be giving the pumpkins a B tier because they grow a lot. They grow a lot of vines. But unlike the other one we're gonna talk about next, the weight of the fruit it produces, if you grow it right next to the fence, it's gonna destroy it. Especially if you buy those fences that look like mesh and you can zip tie them. Those are going to be literally just destroyed by the pumpkin's weight. This is the whole garden in 2020, by the way. We had pumpkins right over here somewhere, like right over there by that gate. And the pumpkins really weigh down a lot, so it's really important to understand that. Now next up we have the gourd plants, and gourds are a really good plant, and sadly I didn't get around to planting them this year. So there will not be a gourd harvest video, unless we can really just speed up time and go to the 2025 gardening season and actually get some. Mainly because we only have like 2 varieties this year, because like they were all sold out by the time I went to Tractor Supply in like March, so that was crazy. But gourds are gonna go a tier above them. I'm gonna bump them into A tier because they're really good. They sprawl out more though. However, they produce a lot more, and most notably, they don't destroy a lot of things as much as pumpkins do. Although, I would recommend keeping them away from your other plants because they are going to at least attempt to overgrow in the garden. Now, next up we have our sweet potatoes, and sadly, we didn't grow them again this year because, well, our seeds, well, not our seeds, our potato starters never made it here. I don't know whatever happened to them. I'm still waiting for them to be out here, I guess. But we never got them this year. So I'm gonna give the potatoes an A tier. Also, they're actually pretty hard to manage, but in my opinion, I really think that they do good in a lot of gardens. However, you don't want to keep them near the garden because not only are they a lot to manage, but they also attract potato beetles, which if they attract too much, will not only swarm that, but they'll swarm your eggplants, your cucumbers. They'll get every last thing in there that they think is interesting and wipe it all out. So it's best if you find one early to annihilate it as soon as possible. Alright, so next up we have our green beans, and last year we didn't grow green beans, but this year we did, and our green beans are looking pretty nice this year, and we're getting a good harvest. I'm going to give them the first S tier of the day because I really think green beans are one of, if not the greatest ones that you can buy out there. They germinate pretty well, and I think most importantly, they really do good in the garden, and they produce a lot in a really short time frame. Like, you plant them, and then just a couple weeks later, you're already getting some flowers, and about a week after that, you're getting some harvest. They are a really quick to grow plant, which is why sometimes people will be growing them on their windowsills because they grow in a lot of really good locations. So that's why I'm thinking S tier for this plant. Next up, we're gonna go peppers, and I'm gonna rank 2 of them today because, well, why wouldn't I? We're gonna start off with jalapeno peppers. This is my first year growing them, and I don't know, to be honest. I'm gonna put them in the to be determined category because I haven't yet formed an opinion on them yet. But you guys down below can rank them if you guys want to. Be sure to create your tier lists down below because I think it's really important that not only that I tell you a tier list, but you get other people to tell them that. But the normal peppers, the red, yellow, orange peppers, bam, they're going right into the A tier. I think they're one of the greatest ways to start out in the garden. They're really nice, basic, they grow well, and they're pretty easy to maintain, and they're pretty easy to care for. Now next up we got basil, which is going to be another S tier of the day. Personally, I really think basil grows really well in a lot of people's gardens, and I really love that joy of knowing that we're protecting our tomatoes from other beetles, not beetles, I think they're flies or whatever that don't really like the scent of that, and they just annihilate those flies. They keep them away. They don't annihilate them, but like they keep it away from the tomatoes, which is why they're an absolute gem to pick if you're going to be growing a bigger tomato patch like we have. I think our garden's like 65% tomatoes, so we grow a lot of tomatoes. We need to keep a lot of those plants to help keep them there. They're really easy to grow, like our, what's it called, the green beans, and most notably they're affordable and they don't take a lot to maintain either. Now for tomatoes, I'm thinking yet another S tier today. Yep, another S tier. I've been giving them out a lot, but guess what? They deserve it. They're 100% deserving of it. I don't know why my poor jalapeno peppers are getting knocked down by these thunderstorms, but I'm not having it. So I'm gonna fix this right after I'm done filming this video and see what all I can do to help save them. But after all, tomatoes are going right in the S tier. We have 4 different varieties I can count off the top of my head. Cherry tomatoes, Romas, 4th of Julys, and beefsteaks. Romas are really good for making that tomato sauce you have on like pizza. The beefsteaks are really good for like sandwiches. Same with the 4th of July. Cherry tomatoes are really good to have in like salads. I really love them. There's a lot of variety, a lot of potential, so S tier. Next up we have sunflowers, and sunflowers are the most bipolar plant in the entire garden from my personal experience. Even worse than tomatoes. Tomatoes are bipolar, but guess what? So are the sunflowers. They're gonna be worse. These guys refuse to germinate sometimes. They maybe get like 2 or 3 sunflowers if you're lucky sometimes, or like they wait a year and then come up the next year, and yeah, it's weird. And also, if you've ever seen those pictures of sunflowers in the fields and you're like, my sunflowers don't look like that, it's because those are specific ones. I don't really find any of those at the store. And the ones I grow in my garden are ones that have multiple flowers on them as well. Because of this, I'm gonna be feeling a B tier. Now next up, I'm gonna go to carrots and lettuce. I'm gonna do both of them. Carrots, I'm thinking D tier. I have never had a successful batch. Maybe it's my soil or it's something else, but I don't know why I can't get them. And cabbage, I'm gonna go B tier. They're pretty basic, and for whatever reason, they also need to be grown in a raised bed with specific soil because they're picky, just like that. Alright, post-editing the chicken here. For whatever reason, the clip I was about to cover, which was the zucchini plants, got corrupted. I have literally no clue why this happened. Literally, like right at the end of the clip, I literally just like cut it down and it kept crashing the editor. Nothing would stop it from doing that, so I'm going to tell you exactly what I gave them. I gave them a B tier, and I also told you that they were getting destroyed by whatever like rabbits were getting in the garden, so that's exactly what you missed out on, so not a lot. Eggplants are easy, the most forgettable plant I grow in my garden, but don't worry, I always try to get a nice harvest out of them. And in my opinion, they will always be up there as one of my favorite plants because they're really nice and easy to grow, but they also attract a ton of bad beetles into your garden, which is what you do not want. I'm again feeling another B tier. Alright, we're in the trellis and we're talking about cucumbers. You know what, I'm feeling a pretty solid A tier on this one. I know, crazy. A tier, solid A tier, right in the middle, mid-grade A tier. They're like really good. They don't last a while, except for this year. They're beginning to die back a little bit. I want to see what I can do to help get these guys back live, maybe add some more fertilizer, but their lifespan is always limited. So, quick moment of silence for them. So yeah, A tier, and if you really put effort into making sure that the fertilizer is good, you're gonna have some really nice looking cucumbers. Not this one's still developing. I'm gonna give it maybe another 2 days, this one another 4 to 5 days, but you could have some really nice colored ones if you really try with your fertilizer. But at the end of the day, this is all just my opinion, so be sure to comment down below your opinions, as I said in the middle of this video. And also, if you guys want to see the progression of how my garden's growing this year, be sure to click the playlist on the screen. The video has everything from garden updates to garden tutorials to personal experience to everything else in between, though. There's something for everybody there. I'll see you in that playlist.